I think we're ready to go. The second Madison Reed Hair Color House Party. We are so excited to see you. We are live from our bathrooms, from our kitchens, from all over the US, coming together as a community and coloring our hair together. I hope you have your color kit right next to you. You're welcome to have a beverage of choice right next to you to make this fun. I have mine right here. We know that for many, you are coloring your hair at home for the first time, and we at Madison Reed want to tell you, you've got this. We're gonna make this happen. You can do this. I colored my hair for the first time about 3 years ago, and I honestly couldn't believe how easy it was. And I hope that through this process you feel the same way. My name is Heidi. I'm a proud team member of Madison Reed, and I'm just so happy to be here. We put this together because we have just been overwhelmed with the amount of people reaching out to us asking for help. And we thought that this was a really fun way to bring us all together and help as many people as possible at once. And this is not just fun for us, this has a lot of meaning as well. I don't know if you're aware, but Madison Reed made a donation of $100,000 to an organization called Direct Relief. This organization helps frontline healthcare workers, and we want to continue donating, and you can help us do that. At the end of this tutorial, after this house party, if you send a picture of your amazing hair color, we will donate $1 for every picture donated to that same organization. Now, since the very beginning, Madison Reed has been about our colorists. 60% of our workforce is our colorists. And today we are just so fortunate to have 3 of our most expert colorists with us today. These women are not just expert colorists, they're experts at educating women on coloring their hair. And I'd like to introduce them now. First up is Carmela. Carmela, do you want to wave?
Hi, everybody.
Carmela will be our main star of the show today. She's a veteran colorist with 25 years of experience. She's owned her own salon and is now Senior Director of Color Bar Operations, managing over 100 colorists across the U.S., across 12 color bars across the U.S. And yes, we are in the process of reopening them. Next up, I have Siobhan. Siobhan, do you want to wave?
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Siobhan was the star of our first hair color house party, and she is here today as well. Siobhan has many, many years of experience behind the chair, we call it, coloring other women's hair. And she has been our lead, most passionate colorist educator at Madison Reed for over 4 years. She has done countless Facebook Lives, countless colorists on call. I have watched her educate and train with such love and passion for many years now, and I'm just thrilled to have her with us. And finally, we have Susan. Susan has over 45 years of experience coloring hair, and she's not just an expert colorist, she is actually the genius behind our shade formulations. She is behind our over 55 shades of gorgeous color. Susan, would you like to wave and introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone, and I'm quivering with excitement because honestly, it's so great to see so many of us coloristas all together in one space. So today is going to be all about all of us celebrating hair color together, and I couldn't be happier.
So with that, Susan, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Excellent. So everyone, we're all together in our Zoom meeting room. What is a good thing to do is when you hover over your screen, you can in fact change your name if it's not your full name or your real name. Try and be mindful that it's cool for us to be able to see who you are, Shauna and Linda and Joanne, just like you can see Siobhan and I. Also, what we'll be doing is allow you guys to ask as many questions as you like. We won't be able to probably get to all of you, but we want to hear you. So if you're there and you're looking at your bottle of stuff and you're thinking, oh my gosh, please do raise your hand. The way that you do that is by taking the arrow and putting it up to the top of your screen, which is on the right. You'll see 3 little dots. Click on that. You can raise your hand. So that's if you're on the computer screen. If you're on the phone, go to the bottom right hand side and you will see exactly the same thing. So that's how you guys can interact with us, coloristas, and we want to hear you. So
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Susan. I'm so excited to see all of you. I see some hair color kits out already. That makes me so happy that you guys are actually going to be doing, yay, awesome. That's fantastic. So as Susan said, there is the function to raise your hand. When we see those hands go up, what we will do, just as quickly as we can, is sort of come over to you and we'll unmute you. So right now everyone is muted for the meeting so that we can hear and see Carmela go through her demo. But as we see those hands pop up, when we're able to take little pauses throughout, we'll go over to your screen and we'll call on you and unmute you so you'll be able to ask in real time with us. So we will sort of tell you in advance, we're so thrilled to see so many of you. What that means is we might not get to every single question, but we'll try. At the very end of this Zoom Hangout, you're going to see a screen that shows you where to email any questions that you didn't get in real time. So we'll make sure we follow up there as well. So with that, I'm going to hand the floor over to Carmela to show us how it's done on a root touch-up.
All right, thanks, Siobhan, and welcome to my bathroom. First of all, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, and I'm going to grab my cocktail and, cheers to you as we go through this venture together. So good luck today. I'm happy and excited that all of you are going to be coloring with me, and let's get started. All right, so today we're going to be talking about and covering up all my stubborn little grays. And when I talk about gray, like I do have some gray up in my part here, but you can really see it right around my hairline here, and that is really what's quite frankly annoying to me. So we're going to help you take care of that today. All of you probably know how to color. It's really simple. It's simple as 1, 2, 3. You can color in the lines, and we're going to help you knock out those stubborn grays today. All right, so let's get started. So to set us up for success, I like to protect my bathroom, either the plastic, parchment paper, or something like that. But making sure that I have my grout covered and things like that, because I'm a professional, but at the same time, I still drop things. I have drips, and there will be times that I find color after it's processed, looming around. So I want to protect as much as possible. One of the things, and you can see that I have on today, is a cape. So you want to make sure that you have a cape, a smock, a shirt that is buttoned down, something that you don't have to remove up over your head and it's easy for you to take off. Also protecting your skin or any clothes that you might have on as well. In your kits, and I know a lot of you guys have your kits out today, you're going to get a lot of things in your kit that's going to help you accomplish the goal today, which is covering those stubborn grays. So some of the things that you guys are going to get is going to be a cleansing wipe. So I'm going to go ahead and start opening those packets up now so that I'm ready to go with my application, as well as my skin protectant or barrier cream. So again, opening these up and getting them ready to go during my application as well. I also like to, detangle my hair just to make sure that, there aren't any little knots towards the ends. My hair is a little bit longer and it's a little bit aged, so they tend to get a little bit knotty. So I want to make sure that I have it all combed out and ready to go just before I start to section. Some of you might have some clips lying around in your bathroom. Clips are not necessary, but it really helps me control the movement and the direction of my hair when I'm applying my hair color. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to section my hair into 4 quadrants. I'm going to have 2 in the front and then 2 in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and start sectioning now with my clips. And if there are any questions that my team members can help answer, we'll go ahead and take a couple of those while I section.
So I can see that, Joanne, you're following along with Carmela, which is brilliant. We do have somebody who has a question. I think, Laurie, where can I find you? Oh, there you are. Laurie. Laurie?
Yes, can you hear me? Oh,
yes,
how do I unmute? You can hear me?
Yes, I can absolutely hear you.
Oh,
how
good.
are you doing?
Okay.
So
well,
what
the question is, since you're supposed to test it for 48 hours before you do the coloring, and I haven't done that, does that mean, that means I can't do this right now, right? And so I have questions on how to do the test, like on a small area you're supposed to test, and how exactly to do that.
Okay, brilliant question, Laurie, and thank you for asking that, because that's something that I'm sure a lot of you are a bit mystified. Now, there's actually two tests that you can do. The first that we recommend is that you do a skin test before you actually colour your hair. In order to do that, just mix up a teeny tiny little bit, you don't need much, and put that in a non-metallic bowl. Teeny tiny bit of colour, a teeny tiny bit of your activator, just mix it up. You can do it with a Q-tip, it's not rocket science. And then you put that either behind your ear, which is where I like to do it, or sometimes in the crook of your elbow, and then cover it with a Band-Aid and leave it. What we're doing there is we're saying, you know what, sometimes we can have sensitivity, that may be the case for you. So it's just a kind of a cross-check to find out if that is something that may happen. The other test that we sometimes recommend is what we call a strand test. Now with that, we mix up a teeny bit more, and what we're doing there is we're putting it on a strand of hair. So it might be that you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm a bit nervous. So if that's the case, what we do is take out a little bit of hair. I like to use it behind the ear because guess what? You never know. And then leave it for 35 minutes, coat it well, leave it for 35 minutes, and then just rinse that tiny bit and dry it and see what it looks like. So that way you'll be able to have a bit of a sneak peek as to the way it looks. So I hope that answers your question, Laurie. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Let's get back to Carmela, because you're really important now, I think.
I do have one more question. So, so when you're covering your sink, that means because that's the main thing I worry about. I don't want to get my white sink all black. So do I cover it with plastic, like you said, or parchment?
You know, either way will do. Whatever you've got handy. Really, you don't need any special equipment. As long as you've got your bottle and your colour, you're good to go.
Oh, you can do it.
So, Carmela, I can see you're on a super important bit here, and we've got
I am.
Along.
Yeah, so this is skin protector, and I'm applying it right around my hairline, and I'm trying to avoid getting it on any of my hair, especially around where those stubborn grays are. Because if I get any of the skin protector or barrier cream on it, it may not cover as well as I need it to. But, you know, things happen. I did get some on right here, you can see, and I just wiped it off just a little bit. So just make sure you pay attention to that. So I'm applying it pretty thick around my hairline. Again, I want to make sure that my skin is protected around my face. I'm also applying it to my ears because I've got some length and I will hit my ears. I'm not perfect, so it will happen. And then also around my hairline and the back, because I'm also going to be coloring my roots in the back as well, and I want to avoid the staining back there as well.
Now, Carmela, are you in a good point for me to go ahead and take a question from Sarah?
You know, let me get to mixing first so we can keep moving along, and then while I'm doing that, you can pull up Sarah's question. Cool?
Perfect. Sounds great.
Awesome. So today I'm going to be using 5.5, which is DeSolo Brown. And the reason why I'm using the 5.5 NNA is because I have those stubborn little gray hairs that I can't stand, and I really want to knock them out today. So you've got your tube of color, and you've got your bottle of activator that also comes in your kit, and you're going to empty your entire contents of your color inside your tube of activator. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my cap with my developer here and start mixing by opening my color tube as well. And you're going to want to puncture that in there, and the cap has a nice little puncture tool that you can use so that you can easily push that color in. Siobhan, why don't you go ahead and take that question while I empty the contents of the color into my activator bottle.
Okay, sounds great. So Sarah M., I see that you've got a question. What I'm going to do is go ahead and unmute you. Give me just a quick second. There we go, Sarah. Hi.
Hi. So I dyed my hair a year ago, and the whole thing, I don't know if you could see, but the whole thing was bleached. And then every time I dyed it after, I just did it myself. I just dyed the whole thing again. But I just wonder, like, for me to get an even color, because my natural hair is a lot darker than the bottom, because I had went for a copper, but now it's just so faded. But you could see the part that was initially bleached when I went to the salon. for me to get an even color, would I put more of the dye on, or would I put it on sooner and then do the bottom later? That's my main question.
Yeah, absolutely. What we would recommend, so is the color that you're using today, Sarah, close to your natural color or your root color on the top?
I don't even remember. I just went through the little question and answer, and then it gave me a suggestion, and I went with that.
Okay, so what I would recommend definitely, since what Sarah's question is she's got some longer hair here that was previously bleached or highlighted. It's a lot lighter and she's touching up her color. What I recommend is, are you covering gray today?
I do have some gray, yeah.
So put the color on the top where the natural is, set your timer for 25 so that this is getting a nice long time. And then after that timer has gone off, run the color through the lighter part and set it for another 20. What's happening here is you're giving your root and your natural that nice 45 full coverage. Your gray is going to get covered, and then your mids and ends will be treated without going overly dark. So the mid lengths and ends aren't going to be this on for the same amount of time.
Okay, perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, when you say run it through, would I use the whole product? Also, my hair was a lot longer, and my sister cut it during quarantine. She did like a crazy job, but we haven't even fixed it, but I don't care. I still want to dye it.
Yeah.
When initially, my hair was a lot longer, so I had bought 2 kits because of my length.
Perfect.
2 kits for this length?
I would mix up the first bottle, see how far you can get. If about half of that bottle is enough for the roots and you've got about half left to put that on the mid lengths and ends after that first 25 minutes, great. Then you can save that other bottle for later. But it's a great backup because if you run out of color, you've got that extra color to mix.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
All right, so let's get into the application. So I just emptied my entire contents of my Disola Brown into my activator bottle, and remember, you're going to use the entire one because they're already pre-mixed for you and there's no thinking involved, and you just have to mix it up and shake, shake, shake. So you want to shake it up, and you can see in the bottle that you want to make sure that you don't see anything that's chunky or 2 different kinds of color. You want to make sure that you shake it really, really well to make sure that it's mixed up nice and thorough inside the bottle. We also have a cap that's on the actual application bottle, and so you can just take that off. And what's amazing about this bottle as well is it is a no drip bottle, so I can hold it upside down and nothing's going to come out until I squeeze. So I have my sections. I have my section in the front, my 2 sections in the front, and my 2 sections in the side. And I'm going to start right where my part is because that's what I can see. That's what all of you can see. That's what everyone sees, and I'm really conscious about that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it. And I'm going to go ahead and make a kind of an S pattern or a zigzag pattern here. And I'm going to go ahead and run it through, and I'm going to start to cover my root area where my gray is. And I'm just going to use my finger. You don't have to press too hard. You can go really lightly, but you want it covered enough to where it looks like cake frosting, cream cheese, butter, I don't know, whatever you have a flavor for today. I know my taste buds are calling, it's lunchtime, but you know, whatever you can relate it to, that's kind of how much you have to put on. So I'm gonna unclip here, and then I'm gonna take about a 1/4 inch section, and what's nice about this bottle is it's thin enough that I can take a section just with this bottle. I don't need any other additional tools. And I'm just going to pull this over, and you can see how thick I've already started to apply it, that it's already coming through the other side. You don't want to press all the way down because the harder you press, the more the color will spread. So you just want to lift it up lightly. Again, get it into your part here and start applying it lightly with your fingertips, right on the areas that you would like to cover. And I'm going, in a horizontal motion here. Because it's easiest to apply, my color in this direction, and I can move horizontally and really manipulate my arms so that I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to continue to go down and apply this color in a horizontal manner, and I'm going to complete this one section, and then I'm going to move over to the other section as well. So Susan or Siobhan, do you want to take a couple questions while I finish up this application?
Hey, actually, before we take the next question, I have a surprise guest who's here to say hello.
Oh,
I would like to introduce our founder and CEO, Amy Errett, who is stopping by to say hello. Amy, if you're there and you'd like to share some words with the team of 447 people who are currently coloring their hair at once as a community, we'd love to hear from you.
Am I unmuted yet?
Yes, you are.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you all for coming today. And 447 people is amazing. So the first thing is just incredible community. We've been starting to run these hair coloring parties, and we really want to make sure that you're all getting the desired results that you deserve from the hair color. I think it's incredible that so many of you showed up. Hopefully it's going to be super helpful so that your hair looks amazing, because that's why we exist, is for you to have amazing hair. And, you know, just want to thank you for the community. Thank you for the commitment to the brand. Thank you for supporting our growth. And just make sure that you keep on asking your questions and pushing us to do all the things that you need us to do to make sure your hair is amazing. Our job is for you to feel confident and beautiful with great ingredients. We have an incredible team. Siobhan and Carmela and all the folks on here are super dedicated, and we're all about empowering women. So I just really stopped by more as a participant, but Heidi asked me to just say something. So I won't take up a lot of your time, because you got more important things to do, which is watching Carmela and asking Siobhan questions and not hearing from me. So anyway, thanks to all of you, and Madison Reed really loves you all. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Amy. That was awesome. So Siobhan, I'll let you talk about with the next client.
Well, I think we have a question. I know that you've been waiting patiently, Lillian. Do you still have your question, or has it been answered already by Carmela? Are you there? Can I hear you?
You have to, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you just
Yeah.
unmuted me. I have very resistant gray.
Oh.
And so I know that your product calls for 30 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering if I should keep it on longer and put
Amazing.
more on.
Yes, you have amazing instincts. And in fact, you're in the same boat as Carmela. So watch closely to what she's doing. So when we have resistant hair, what she's going to do is, you can see her putting color on first, targeting those resistant grays. Then she's going to come back and do them again at the end of the application. Make sure that there's lots of thick color on there, so you've got the best possible coverage. And then you tend to leave it for a little bit longer. So normally we say 35 minutes, you're bang on. But for resistant grays, we like to leave it for 5. Does that make sense?
For Helma, how long?
45
for resistant?
minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. And I can see you're targeting your resistant grays there, Carmela.
I am. Yes, I'm making sure, again, I feel like I should be eating some cake, but I'm making sure that it is on there, especially right here around my ears and my temple area. You know, the second I started turning gray, when I saw one little bit of gray, I freaked out and said, oh my God, I'm starting to get old. And so if my hair is any indication of my aging, then definitely my skin is too. And so I started using anti-aging products, and those kinds of products really help in the aging of your skin, but it also does something to the hair right around your hairline, because I'm not as careful as I am. You can see I have to get my cleansing wipe out now, and making sure that, just clean all this up right here. But my anti-aging products, they create kind of a little block and a little bit of a barrier for my color to really get through. So I want to make sure that I'm lathering it on and I'm applying enough to where it feels like it looks like cake frosting, butter, something. Cream cheese works well too. Making sure that it is really on there. Okay, so there's the front 2 sections, and now I'm going to move to the back. And you know, it's a little intimidating about moving to the back because you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, am I getting enough on there? Am I covering the gray hairs? Guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. I never see the back of my head. This is the first time you're going to see the back of my head. I've never actually seen it. So I'm going to apply it. I'm going to use my sense of touch. I'm going to use the cold feeling of the product to determine where exactly I need that product. And I'm going to apply it in the same horizontal sections that I did in the front 2 quadrants. So I'm going to move around to the back, start applying there. And team, if you want to take some additional questions, feel free.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Carmela. So I'm going to go with, Lillian, because I know, Lillian, you've been waiting for a little while, haven't you? So Lillian, let me find, there we are.
I already asked my question.
Oh, you did. Fantastic. Karen, then, you're next in line.
Great. So thank you for hosting this. Just watching Carmela alone is giving me
You've enjoyed it? Thank you for watching. You want my laptop? Okay.
I think I'm unmuted now, so I will go ahead. First off, just thank you for hosting this. Watching Carmela has given me the confidence to do this. It's been about 3 months since I got my last root touch-up in a salon, so this is my first time attempting to do color and doing it at home. And while I'm pretty confident in the color that I selected from Madison Reed, I'm not 100% confident of how well it matches what I've been getting all along. So I guess what I'm kind of torn between is, should I just do a root touch-up because maybe it's more healthy for the rest of my hair, or should I just go for it and do the full color in this kind of situation?
Interesting let's just check, shall we? So it really depends on what color you've got. So tell me what color you've got.
I don't know if you could see me, but it's got kind of a dark goldeny brown.
Okay, and what color have you got in your tube? Your Madison Reed color.
Oh, Napoli brown?
Napoli. So remind me, Siobhan, what Napoli brown?
5 NGV, really beautiful, medium dark, chocolatey brown.
Okay, so then I think you're good to go. What we normally will recommend when you do a new color, which is what you're doing, mix it up just like Carmela's doing and put it on your roots first. So let's leave it on those roots for a little while. It actually looks like a great match to what you currently have. So what I would do at the end of the processing time, probably around about half an hour, right? So the maximum processing is 35 minutes usually, or if it's resistant, we leave it for 45. So around about 30 minutes, what you want to do is take the color that you have left and kind of smush it into the ends, and that is a real technical term. And make sure that you put plenty through and just leave it on those ends for about the last 5 minutes. You don't want to leave it longer than that, because if you leave it longer than that, you might find that because your hair is already dark, it might go too dark. But what you do want to do is make sure that you're really refreshing the color that you have with the color that you're going to do.
Okay, great.
Does that
Thank
answer
you.
your question?
Definitely, thank you.
Much for being here. So let's see what Carmela's up to, because I think she's at a fairly interesting bit now, aren't you?
Still following my horizontal sections, but you can see I'm not perfect. Like, I wish I had those eyes in the back of my head like a mother to see what I'm doing back there, but unfortunately, I don't. And so again, I'm relying on my sense of touch, and I'm also relying on the temperature of the product to tell me exactly where to apply. So now that I've applied my front 2 sections, I've went in and applied my back 2 sections, and I'm just gonna pull my hair down so that it is not in my face. But what I'm also going to do is I'm gonna go back into my hairline where those stubborn little grays are that I can't stand, And I'm gonna go ahead and resaturate. Again, making sure that it's applied like frosting, like butter, like cream cheese. I love them all, but we wanna make sure that it's really saturated there. And especially where you have those stubborn little grays, keep them nice and wet. Keep them with a ton of product on there as well.
Carmela, that looks really, really good on saturation. I think the thickness of the product is something, we get a lot of questions about that. How thick does it need to be on? Should it look like lotion? So I love that reference to thick like frosting or butter. That's beautiful. And that really, really makes a difference for gray coverage. It really matters. Carmela, can we take one more question while you're double checking saturation?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Perfect. So Joanne, I see your question. Hi. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi.
Hi there.
I am using a bowl and brush instead of the bottle. Is there anything different I should have been doing?
No, that is perfect. That's absolutely fine. Bowl and brush is great because it keeps your sections really skinny. You've got a lot of control that way. So bowl and brush is always an option. It's just not necessary for the bowl and brush. It's kind of a nice to have, not a have to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it looked it looked like you've got pretty good control there.
I don't think so.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I can see the sections look good. Your saturation is awesome. Did you have any other follow-up questions, or were you just curious about the bowl and brush?
Yeah,
okay.
That was it.
Awesome. So I've reapplied my front hairline, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to cross check, because you know, every pro does this. I'm sure many of you do this yourselves at home. You might have seen it done in the salon if you color in one of our color bars as well. But in my first application, I applied all of my color going horizontally and down. When I cross check, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. But my section doesn't have to be a 1/4 inch. It can actually be a little bit bigger. It can be an inch. It really depends on how thick or how dense your hair is. So since my hair is a little bit thicker, I'm going to go just at about an inch. So I'm going to take a vertical section from the top. I'm going to go all the way down. And I'm just going to spread the hair apart. And what I'm looking for is to make sure that, again, that saturation is in there so that I get the coverage that I want. And I'm just going to take my bottle and I'm just going to reapply in areas that maybe didn't get covered in my first round of horizontal application, which is totally fine. Like, I miss things. Even in the color bars, we miss things. And this is why it's so important to cross check. So again, doing my vertical sectioning, using my bottle, and I'm just going to reapply just a bit more product and spread it down. And I'm going to do this in the front, and I'm also going to move to the back a little bit and spread that around. So Siobhan, if you want to, or Susan, if you want to take another question while I'm cross-checking.
Yes, thanks, Carmela. Gosh, you're an absolute expert, isn't she, guys? Okay, so the next one that we have is Gloria. I know that you've been waiting for a little bit, so let's hear from you. What's your question?
First of all, it's the first time I've colored my hair. I've been going to the salon for like 45 years. I'm trying not to date myself. And the color I did, I don't care for. I did it according to more or less what I discussed with somebody when I called in. Mm-hmm. They sent out another color. It still hasn't arrived. I have too much red in my hair right now. Okay. They sent out a light brown 7N for Natalie. So I'm waiting for that to come in. My question to you is, when they write ash or they write red, mm-hmm. What does ash mean?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. So when we're talking about color, we really have two ways of describing it. We have level, which is how light or dark the color is, and then we have tone, and that's where the ash and the red come in. So ash is, generally speaking, not red or gold or warm. Ash is a color which, when you if it was looking natural, it would look kind of like mouse fur, grey kind of thing. All that means is that it's an absence of warmth. Now, if you choose an ash shade, what we're generally trying to do is use the ash in order to stop any gold or red coming through. And those of you who are veteran coloristas will know that when you colour your hair, you tend to see gold, you tend to see red, sometimes you see copper, and that's because naturally in our hair, if your hair's not grey, you have those pigments in there. So as soon as you start changing anything, oh, they start to peep through. So sometimes we use an ash to counteract those warm colours that we all naturally have in order to make it look like a natural shade. So in other words, when you use an ash, actually you can end up with something that is a warm or slightly gold or even slightly copper colour. And that sounds totally weird, I know. And that's why we spend a lot of time talking to people about exactly these types of issues. And that's why we're really glad that you're here. So the colour that you've got coming to you, is that the 7N or is it another shade? It is the 7N.
No, it's the 7N.
Perfect.
Yes.
So when that comes along, what you'll do is you'll use that, if you have any roots, pop that on the roots first. And then what you'll do is take that through to the ends. I'll use the technical term shmush. And you'll probably do that about 30 minutes into the application, because again, you don't want it to be too much and you don't want it to be too dark. And then that will help to neutralize what you've got you don't like. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay, so the one that I have coming, does that have a lot of red in it?
No, it does not.
Okay, good.
It's what we call, N is what we call neutral or natural. So what that means is it's not ash and it's not warm. It's bang in the middle. And that's exactly what you need.
Okay, I have one more question for you. I found that the skin protector that you sent was not enough for what I needed.
Okay.
Is there something I can use in addition to it?
So again, you know, Gloria, you are a gift because we can get to answer this for everybody. And one of those things is skin stains. The best advice I can give you, and as we know, I've been doing this for quite some time, is when you take the colour off, spend a bit of time on that. So when you add some water right at the end, you're in the shower, take your fingers and really massage the colour around your hairline and really massage it into your head. What you need to do is pretend you're doing a shampoo, and then when you rinse, 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 what you'll find is that will take the skin stains off like that. So use the skin protector just like Carmela's shown us. She's an absolute expert, and look how she's cleaning herself. This is another great tip. So I'm going to let her answer your question as well, because I know she's itching too. But those tips are going to really help you. Okay?
For you.
All right. So I did my cross section in the front, and we've had some great questions. So this is amazing dialogue. Thank you everyone for those awesome questions. I did move on to the back, and I did use Susan's technical term as smush, because again, I can't really see anything back there, and it's okay to not be perfect. I'm more concerned about, again, what I see, what you see, and my hairline and around the front of my face, because I pull it all back, and it doesn't have to be perfect back here. So I used Susan's term again, smush, and I just massaged and smushed in the color, not pulling it through my ends, because I still like my ends the color that they are. And so I really worked that into my scalp area and making sure that the color was distributed as much as it could be, because again, I'll never see the back. And then cleaned up my hairline really well, and then around my ears and neck as well. And then lastly, you see I have my beautiful cap on. And so I clipped up my hair, and I didn't clip it up too tight. I clipped it up loosely because I want to make sure that it all fits inside the cap and nothing's hanging down outside of the back side of the cap. But clipped it up nice and loosely, and then applied the cap from the back to the front. And the reason why I applied it from the back to the front is because I just spent a bunch of time cleaning up my hairline. You know, I didn't want that staining around my hairline through the rest of my day. My husband doesn't know I color my hair. I don't know how he doesn't know that, but you know, I don't want him to see this line from my cap. So I've cleaned all that, and this little trick is just folding the cap over and then placing the elastic on top of the cap so that it seals in. Couple things, you know, we want to keep it nice and moist. I live in a state that's super, super dry, so I want to keep the color nice and moist and it continues to process. And also the heat from my scalp also helps with that stubborn gray as well. So you can see we're all applied. I'm going to set my timer for about 35 minutes, and then I'm going to check on those stubborn grays, and if I need to process it just a little bit longer for up to another 10, then I certainly will do that. Okay, any questions? Looks like there's a ton. Susan and Siobhan?
There's lots of questions, lots and lots of questions. I know that we've got Dawn. I know you've been waiting for a long time. So Dawn, would you like to ask your question now?
Yes. My hair is short. It's like ear length, and it is curly and it is thick. And it is very hard to section off.
Right.
What do you recommend? Because I don't think I can do 4 sections.
You know what, Dawn? If your hair is short and it's thick, and I'm sure there's lots of people here have exactly the same thing, don't worry about the sections. Know yourself where you are on your head. If you can manage to take a centing and make that straight, then that's where I would start, and then work down one side and work down the other, and then just as Carmela did, by feel through the back, that's going to be your best bet. So as long as you get onto the bits that show, just like Carmela did,
Right.
those are the most important things. So don't get any of us coloristas about doing a perfect technique. That isn't what it's about. It's not going to give you necessarily the best result. It helps because it helps to manage, but if you can't do it, then just have at it. That would be my advice.
Okay. Yes, that definitely helps. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know that there's a lot of you out there who have more questions. Siobhan, would you like to?
Yeah, absolutely. Carmela, how long did you set your timer for this particular application?
I set my timer for 35 minutes. I've been coloring with Madison Reed for quite some time now, so I kind of know, you know, what my hair processing time will be like. So I set my timer for 35 minutes, and then I'm going to check on these stubborn little guys because, you know, formulas change, my hair changes. Unfortunately, hormones tend to take over our life at some point. And so those things are a factor. So I'm going to check them right at 35 minutes, especially these guys. And then if I need to process it a little bit more, then I will.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I'm going to pop over. I see Sarah. Sarah, I am going to re-find you and unmute you. Give me one quick second here. There you are. Hi, Sarah.
Hi there. How are you?
Great. Hi.
Yeah, my question is about going into the shower. Is there any danger of, you know, the color sort of, I don't know, coloring the rest of my body in the shower, or do I have to be, you know, try to get it out ahead of time in the sink, or?
No, not necessarily. Shower is fine. Typically, if you just kind of do that quickly, you can, even if it makes you feel more comfortable, kind of move your head off to the side and let the water run off, kind of go off your skin if it's something you're concerned about. But to be honest, I just jump right in. It washes off down the sink, and I've never had any issue with staining. So you don't really have to take too much precaution necessarily.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. Good question.
Great webinar.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
So I think we've got time for a couple more questions, maybe. I know, Dana, you've been waiting for a little while. Would you like to ask us? Dana, are you there?
I'm Katie. You unmuted me just now.
Hi. There you go.
Hi. I did my. I had a Sienna brown. I'm trying to. My natural hair color is ash. But we're naturally dark blonde, and I've been wanting to do that. My colorist hasn't wanting to do that with me, so this was the perfect timing. And so I did my first kit. It's almost been 4 weeks. It went great. I did have some grays that I missed, so I'm gray, and you know, in the roots, and so I think maybe that cross check would help.
I think you're absolutely right. When it comes to grays, you have to put plenty on. Remember, cake frosting. Carmela said it deliciously, I thought. Make sure you put plenty of product on, and then you can leave it a little bit longer. So what we recommend for resistant greys is to have it on for 45 minutes rather than 35.
Right.
And oftentimes that little bit of extra time, that will be your friend.
It worked great. It's just the one area I kind of missed. So, because I've been trying to part my hair different ways, so I missed that one a little bit. And I don't have my gloss yet. I got my second kit, but I did order a gloss in espresso.
Oh, great. Well, that's something to look forward to.
I did get those coppery tones come in. And then I have one more question. Just, I did get a bowl and brush. So can you use, if I'm just doing the roots, can I just use part of the, like half of the kit to color?
You absolutely can. And that's a great question, Katie. So one of the things that a ball and brush does afford you to do is to use part of your tube and part of your activator. Now, in order to do that, the easiest way is to invert the activator, so invert that cream, so that you can actually see how much there is. So let it drain right to the bottom. And then what I often do is put a Sharpie about halfway, because you probably don't have scale or anything like that at home. And that's fine. So then squidge out, and there's another technical term, into your bowl, half the tube, and then squidge out from your bottle, half the activator. And then use your brush to mix that, and then bob it on your roots, and off you go. So great question.
And
Thank you.
And you don't have to, did I ask this already? You don't have to do the cross check in the back?
You know, I would suggest, and I'm sure that Siobhan and Carmela, you would agree with me, that it's a good idea to check in the back.
Okay.
But let's focus on the bits that show. We don't want to have a perfect back application, but not have a perfect front application, because that's not.
Got it. Thank you so much. It's very helpful.
Thank you very much, Katie.
Okay, so we have Dana. We did call on Dana, but then I don't think we unmuted you. I've got you now. Give me one quick second to pop over here. Okay, hi, Dana.
Hi, thank you. I was a little confused. Great. So I have a question, but then a little follow-up on some of the other advice you've given.
Sure.
So the question is, I wonder if it matters how recently you've washed your hair, because I noticed you're starting with dry hair, but do you need to like have dirty hair or clean hair?
Not necessarily. What we really just want you to have is no physical barrier on the hair. So it's okay if you've got a little of your own natural scalp oil. That is considered just fine. But what we would want is if there was any heavy hairsprays or styling products, it might be a good idea to give it a quick wash and blow dry before you apply your color.
Okay.
But if it's just your own natural hair and there's a little natural hair oil on there, absolutely not a problem.
Okay, and then so what if you've put like a very small amount of like like an anti-frizz gel when it's wet after you washed it? Would it be better to just like wash it again?
Through the mid links and ends?
Yeah, but while it's wet. Okay,
I wouldn't worry about it. No, if it's a light application.
Drop size. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
A few people have brought up, you know, focusing on the roots, but then how much to do in the rest of it. And so I also typically go to the salon and I have like, they do a sort of a semi-permanent ongoing, and then like once a year I get highlights. And so I just want to kind of make the roots match the rest more or less, but I'm worried about only doing the roots and not having it be fluid. And so I just wanted to better understand. I feel like you've talked about like a 30-minute time frame and a 45-minute time frame. So it seemed like you said, put it on the roots for like the main time frame and then add it to the rest with only 5 minutes left? Or is it more than 5 minutes?
Yeah, so you're bringing up a really good point, and that's that we've been doing a little bit of customized instructions based on where people's starting point is. Since you have lighter on the ends, and you probably want to keep it lighter, yours would be shorter, like running it through for about the last 5 minutes. And I think, Carmela, you have some good advice around using gloss as well. Do you want to answer part of this?
Yeah, sure. I really love the lightness of the ends of my hair. I had balayage over a year ago. You can see that I have some good length to my hair. But I don't necessarily want to run permanent color through over and over and over and over and over. And so what I'm doing is keeping it shiny, keeping it healthy, And after I've applied my root color, if I was going to apply gloss today, I would just simply open up my gloss and apply my gloss from my mid links to my ends and let that process for about 20 minutes of the remaining time. That keeps it nice and healthy. You know, I'm not adding any color or anything to that. I use Glossa, which is clear. But if I wanted to add any other tones to it, if I wanted to add, you know, golden honey and things like that, then I would select one of our other glosses just to kind of fill it up and give it a little bit more sheen and some tone to it. But other than that, you know, I just fill it up with Glossa. I don't do it every time. Today was just a root application, but making sure that my roots are covered, making sure that those stubborn grays have enough product on them to get them covered. And then I open up my tube of gloss and then follow the same kind of process from, you know, one side to the other, using those horizontal sections, and then apply my gloss to my mid links and ends.
I think if I can just jump in on there, because obviously with your hair, Dana, it's blonde, so you don't want to make it darker. Basically, there's different options. One bit of advice that I would recommend is focus on the primary job. So the primary job for you will be your roots and lighten those up. You want to tone through the ends. You can do that several different ways. The easiest way is actually in the shower. So leave it 35 minutes. If you have resistant grays, jump in the shower, add some water, massage the whole thing. That'll help to kind of blend it all the way through so that you don't have a line or a demarcation anywhere, and then rinse, condition, good to go. So we don't need to overthink it. Focus on the priority and you'll be halfway there. Make sense? Thank you. Wonderful. Well, we've managed to get through so many of our questions. Do we have time for any more? Or we do. Oh, fantastic. So let's see if I can find Kathy. Kathy and Colleen, are you there? Can I unmute you? Yes.
Hi, yeah.
Kathy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, so I had just a couple of quick questions, if you don't mind.
Marvelous.
So I know during the application process, let me say I'm doing a red dye and a limited home dyeing experience. Right. But the dyes I've used have told me not to apply it on my scalp, and I noticed during the application process, that didn't seem to be an area of concern for her. Is that something that is maybe specific to Madison Reed that I don't need to worry about? Because I'm also a new customer.
Okay, marvelous. You have natural hair at the root, do you?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And you're looking to color that natural hair at the root?
Yes, with extensive growth.
Perfect. So then
I just don't want to scalp either, if that makes sense.
Okay. So the first thing is that's your priority. So what you're going to need to do is get the color onto those grays. In that process, you are going to put the color on your scalp, but you don't need to worry about any. Is what I suspect you are a bit concerned about. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that
some
right?
of the other dyes, you know, yes, once you get it certain places, it gets everywhere, and then your scalp is red as long as you have the color. So, but I didn't know about Madison Reed color specifically.
So what you're talking about, I'm going to take a leap of faith here, is you're talking about color which is not permanent color. So Madison Reed is designed to cover those grays, and that's permanent color, and it's designed to not stain your scalp in the process. Important though is to do just what Carmela did, so make sure that you're using your skin protector, and then also, which I think we already touched on, make sure that when you do remove the color, really work around the hairline and work it off your scalp, and then rinse completely before you use any shampoo. And if you do that, trust me, you'll find that skin staining won't be an issue. Madison Reed actually is one of the least staining colours that you can use. It's also one of the gentlest when it comes to permanent colour. And oftentimes when you get those staining issues, that's because it's a different type of colour completely. So, good. Does that answer your question?
Okay, great. It does. Perfect. And I just have one last quick one. When exactly did she start timing? Did she start timing when you first started applying the color, or once the hair was saturated with color?
Oh my gosh, I wish I had $1 for everybody who asked this question. So
Sorry.
the answer is no, go for it. That's and because everybody surely wants to know, and it is one of those things that's a bit confusing. Always start your timer when you finish your application. So from the minute you put your color down, press your timer to go, and that's when you start it. Make sense? Perfect. Thank you so much. And thanks so much to all of you coloristas out there, because we're watching you color your hair. I know, I can see Joanne. Can't wait to see what it looks like.
Okay, Susan, we have Jennifer. Jennifer, I see you with your cap on. You are color complete. You look great. I'm going to unmute you in just a second. Hi there.
Hi. Okay, thank you so much for this today. So my question is, really, I bought the this product, the Shine product, and I think you spoke to it a little bit before. That 20 minutes in, you should put it in. So I took my cap off and put it in a little while ago while I was listening to all the questions, but I didn't start it at my roots because I was afraid I was going to then bring my color down too early. I just put it on the midway and down. Can you just explain a little bit how I'm supposed to be putting the Shine product on at the same time to keep everything shiny and healthy?
Yes, you did it like a total pro, Jennifer. That was perfect. So what Jennifer's asking about is she's got our color reviving gloss at home and she's touched up her root with permanent color and she's put our color reviving gloss on just the mids and ends. Yeah, and you left a little bit of room between the permanent color and the mid lengths.
Yes, as much as I could. I did a lot of smushing.
Smushing is perfect for this product. Yeah. So you just smush it in. What you want to do is you can go right up to that root line where the permanent color is, just not over. So we don't want them to budge into each other, but they can almost touch. They can almost touch, but leaving yourself a little buffer room is just fine. I think you did that perfectly.
Okay, great. And then the other question I had was, somebody had before I mentioned that they check. I think the woman who did the color in the first instance checked. She says she checks after 30 minutes to see whether everything looks covered. I mean, I do know that my colorist, this is the first time I'm ever doing my own hair, does check and has amazing eyes and can figure out whether or not the gray has been covered, but I never notice the difference. Can you tell us novices how to notice the difference, whether it worked or not, and whether to keep it on for 10 more minutes?
Absolutely. I'm gonna give you my 2 cents on this, and then I'm gonna welcome Susan and Carmela to add to this because I think it's a big topic. So what you would look for is if you can still kind of see, you look at the color and you can't see through that frosting and that gray is almost invisible to the eye, that's probably a pretty good indicator it's covered, it's blended in with the rest of the hair. Now, you know those resistant grays are sometimes even a different texture and they almost pop up out of the color. You want to just move those babies right back down with extra product and literally weigh them down. So if that's happening, if they start to give you that little action where they're popping up, or you can still see any amount of that white or translucency, 10 more minutes. And I would almost say, when in doubt, if you don't know, let it go the extra 10, because then you're getting better coverage.
Yeah, and the last question I have is, I just have one more question, I'm sorry. The last question I have is, again, I have a lot of gray. So I started out with a good maybe 2 inches of gray that I had to cover, much more than the person who started this video showed her gray. I'm much more gray. And so I actually had to do a lot of smushing even up here to make sure that I was completely covered. And so does that run the risk, I guess I'll find out, of me sort of looking top heavy, like I'm all brown here and then whatever I was before? I mean, I'm going to move in the last 5 minutes and do the rest of it and pull it through. Should the pulling through for the last 5 minutes, I guess, fix any errors of smushing too much at the top?
Absolutely. And I think the color performance, how the color looks, is not the level of color, how dark it is, isn't going to be affected by that smushing. That's just more about gray coverage. So I think you're totally in the safety zone there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Thank you, Jennifer. And thanks all of you. Just such amazing people to work with and having so much great questions, because everybody can benefit from everything all of the time. It's been fantastic to hang out with you guys. Good luck with you. Which you don't need because you've got Madison Reed to partner with. I'm going to pass it back now because I think, oh no, is it really that time already?
It is. It is, I think. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. While this hair color house party is over, the party is not over. We will be doing this again. So we hope you enjoyed this. If you think your friends would like to join us, please tell your friends about Madison Reed and about these hair color house parties. We will be having more of them. You should probably be seeing on your screen all the information to send us your pictures so that we can donate $1 for every picture of your gorgeous hair color we receive. And also this, you could email it to us, or you can post your picture on social and tag us at Madison Reed LLB with the hashtag hair color house party. Or you can send us your picture via email at the address listed here, social@madisonreed.com. And also note, we got a lot of questions today. We tried to answer as many as possible, but if you have other questions, you can also email those questions to us as well, right to that same email address, social@madisonreed.com. Thank you so much for joining, and to all of you that joined us today, happy coloring. Enjoy your gorgeous hair. Stay safe, stay together. Bye.